The NBA owes Russell Westbrook an apology. The Lakers' problems are not all about him. Imagine that.
That's pretty interesting.
LA has been a disaster in so many ways, including LeBron finally looking old. But now, rumors Anthony Davis could get traded?
We're going to talk about Anthony Davis. There's some buzz, just some buzzing that AD might be available.
Whoa, where did that come from? Oh, it's just Bill Simmons saying that on his podcast, no big deal. But then, that night, AD refused to talk to the media. So it got me thinking, there might be some truth to this rumor. But if they trade Anthony Davis, it only comes down to one thing. If one thing happens, the rumor becomes reality. But first, if you are not playing our sponsor PrizePicks this NBA season, you are missing out. Because I've been playing it, and literally it's made like Pistons against the Magic feel like the NBA Finals. I'm hanging on every possession. It's a different way to play daily fantasy sports. So at PrizePicks, you're not competing against other people. It's just you against the projections available. I will give you an example. Let me show you my picks. Open up the app, go to NBA fantasy points. I'm going with Jason Tatum, then Fred VanVleet, and I'm going to do more and more because that's how I roll. And I'll put 25 bucks on this one. I love PrizePicks because it's easy. They give me multiple ways to win. And like I said, it makes every game so much fun. If you use the promo code AMHOOPS, you get a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. So if you deposit 100, they'll give you 100. Deposit 50, they'll give you $50 with promo code AMHOOPS. And PrizePicks is the easiest way to play daily fantasy in states like California, Texas, and more. Check it out. So download PrizePicks today, play daily fantasy sports with me, and make sure to use that promo code AMHOOPS when you sign up. But how much blame should AD get anyway? The big problem was Russell Westbrook, right? But once he went to the bench, Russ has been better. Their only 2 wins came with Russ off the bench. Watch Russ choose not to take an open 3. Instead, he blows by Donovan Mitchell, lobs for AD. Yes! That is the kind of play that Russ would have blown last year. Taking a stupid shot, but he's changing. He's not perfect, but how could they ask for more? He has humbled himself coming off the bench and making smarter plays. I am really worried about LeBron. How awkward are those Father Time commercials reminding us how old LeBron is? And then he blows a layup when they go back to the game.
Oh, what a pass!
My God. And he has done that like a lot this year. But what's always been his go-to move? The lower the shoulder driving through guys, right? He can't even do that against rookies. Look at LeBron size up Dyson Daniels, and the rookie blocks him. That's not LeBron James. This is awful. I know a lot of you don't like LeBron James. You have to admit, this is sad. And I know LeBron says he's had the flu or whatever the last 2 weeks. Well, how does he explain this? LeBron gets it in the post. Patrick Beverley is so open, and you know LeBron knows he's there. He's got too high of an IQ, but he chooses to do a stupid step back thing. That ain't the flu. That is horrible decision making. But maybe he didn't want to pass because the Lakers' three-point shooting is awful. The normal league average three-point percentage is about 36%. The Lakers have one player shooting that well, Matt Ryan, and he was driving for DoorDash 2 years ago. So that brings us to Anthony Davis. While everyone has been blaming Russ, AD's horrible play is just flying under the radar. In the last 2 games LeBron played, AD went MIA in the second half. Shot 1 for 4 against the Jazz in a big loss, 1 for 2 in a collapse against the Cavs. Say what you want about Russell Westbrook, at least that man plays aggressive. AD reminds me of a guy who's like built with the physical gifts to play basketball, but he doesn't have the killer mentality. He just relies on being born 7 feet tall. Russ is the exact opposite. There was a time when people compared AD to a guy like Giannis, but what separates those 2 guys is fight. Every time Giannis is in a game, you can feel it. AD goes missing. I'm not even mentioning the constant injuries, but the worst part, AD is about to be 30 years old. His stock was super high in New Orleans, but by the time a guy hits 30, potential is no longer there. That is why they need a big trade. Russell Westbrook is not going to bring back a difference maker. Here's a list of all the rumored packages for Russ plus picks. Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson, or Jakob Poeltl and Josh Richardson. None of those makes a big difference. So they have 2 players left with value.
I trade LeBron and Anthony Davis.
Oh, very interesting, Stephen A. Smith. Well, LeBron can't be traded. He signed that extension before the season this year. LA cannot trade him this season. AD is the only one, but there is only one way they would trade him. First, they have to make calls on trading AD, hoping that that doesn't leak to kill his confidence. Then the only way they make a deal is if the price is huge. It makes no sense to trade AD for pennies on the dollar, but that's what we all thought about Rudy Gobert. Then the Jazz got like 5 first-round picks for Rudy. LA has to see if that kind of offer is out there. So which teams in the NBA right now might make that trade? I think the list is the Knicks, the Bulls, the Heat, the Blazers, the Warriors, the Hornets, the Mavericks, and the Raptors would all call about an AD trade. All these teams have use for a big man who can go for 30 plus sometimes, but always brings good defense. Then you have to ask yourself, which of those teams actually have what it takes? Well, we can cross off the Bulls, the Heat, and the Mavericks. They each only have 3 picks to trade. The Mavericks and Heat are going to be so good. Their first round picks suck anyway. They're low in the first round. The only type of trade that really works has a ton of picks and maybe a decent player. So the Knicks get Anthony Davis. The Lakers get Derrick Rose, Cam Reddish, Isaiah Hartenstein, plus 2 players to make the money work and 6 first round picks. This does not make the Lakers good right away. This kind of deal would be punting on this season and remaking the team around LeBron in the summer. The only player under contract here is Hartenstein. That leaves them a ton of cap space plus 6 picks to make a deal after the season. The Knicks do this because Jalen Brunson has looked legit. They've got Brunson, they've got RJ Barrett, then you combine that with AD and maybe they've got something. But LA puts all that together for Kevin Durant. They team up KD and LeBron for one old man run at the title. Bill Simmons suggested this. The Warriors get AD, the Lakers get Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and 2 firsts. And don't get mad at me, Warrior fans. Bill Simmons said this. It's obviously too much to give up for AD. You can't count on him being healthy. They would not give up both the young players and the picks. It's not realistic. Replacing Draymond with AD, though, is sneaky good. Davis also plays elite defense. He's obviously a better offensive player, and he would set a pretty sick screen for Steph. A more realistic trade, though, I think, would be the Warriors getting Anthony Davis, the Lakers getting Draymond Green, James Wiseman, and 1 first-round pick. But I don't think the Lakers do that. They don't get back any shooting, first of all, and then they can't really trade for shooting in the offseason because really all they could offer is Wiseman plus 1 pick, and Dre would take all their cap space that they want in the summer. So ultimately, I don't think the Dubs are a realistic landing spot. But the one thing that gets a trade done is a gigantic Rudy Gobert level package in return for AD. I agree that the Lakers should probably trade AD and then eventually LeBron, but they're not going to do that. They have committed to LeBron long term, and now they have to make the best of it. Russ has been the scapegoat, but AD could be the fall guy for this horrible season. But the Warriors are also having a horrible season, and the crazy thing is Steph Curry is playing like an MVP. They needed Steph to score like 40-something just to beat the Kings the other day. They were losing that game the entire way right up until the very end. So the Warriors are making a huge mistake this year, and they are wasting the end of Steph Curry's prime. I made a video about what that mistake is. Check it out.